Hello and welcome to the Halftime Report, part of Bear Football here on the Barroom Network. John Buffone alongside Danny Shimon. The Bears trailing 3-0 at the half to the Washington Commanders. I might cancel my Amazon Prime membership after this, but so far pretty ugly game. Danny, there were flashes. The Bears should probably have 14 points going into this, but they moved the ball well on a few drives, but other things just they looked ugly. Justin Fields currently 7 of 14 for 89 yards and a pick. The pick comes off of him throwing the ball directly into a defender's helmet. I think Kirk Herbstreit's doing a great job of breaking down some of Justin Fields' tendencies in this game so far, as not taking the crossing route on a third down that could have kept the chains moving, maybe not hitting the open guy. Whenever he first becomes open, as opposed to waiting for him to get more open, understanding what separation is. What have you seen out there so far?
Well, for me, I mean, it's like offensively, the Bears have just, in my opinion, they've missed opportunities. Twice in the red zone inside the 10-yard line there. Fields had Kmet open. He just, unfortunately, the ball tipped off the helmet of the defender, and then it goes up and it gets picked. And then again, that big run by Herbert sets him up. Fields just kind of leads Griffin, who was a great play design, just leads a little bit too far. And then obviously that's an incompletion, and they go for on fourth down. And my only question there is why not get an I formation and put a lead fullback in there and let's blast it in there. They go, single man in the backfield, and then Herbert gets stopped short of the goal line. So I agree. I think the Bears should be up at least 10-0, 14, if not 14-0 in this game, or 14-3. Even on that drive by Washington, I mean those are two. Well, the Gordon PI was really not a PI in my opinion, and then the one on Jalen Johnson, yeah, maybe it was a hold, but it's like a 5-yard penalty, but that's not a PI because I mean maybe the ball was even catchable, to be honest with you. So they go down there to get that field goal, and then again, right now my own concern is like it seems like Getsy. And like I said, the Bears are moving the ball, right? Fields is making some plays in terms of getting with his legs. I like the play calling early on in terms of mixing it up with, Fields rolling away from the pocket, getting away from pressure. That was a nice little quick game or a nice little route design he had for Pettis in the middle of the field, where Pettis kind of stopped and went back. Fields hit him in his stride, and that got him down into positive territory there. But it's like they're moving the football, but then all of a sudden they just get bogged down in the red zone. So and now Fields in that last drive, Fields is getting hammered by the defensive front for the Commanders. So my thing is, do not stay with the run, stay committed to the run. Do not try and just throw the ball over the football field, because you're going to get Justin hurt big time. And for the ones that saying ugly football, I mean, guys, what would you expect? These are two bad football teams that are going at it tonight. And yeah, it's ugly. But for me, at least, I guess encouraging me is like it was Fields was making some plays in the passing offense and passing game. Offensive line held up well. I think gave up 2 sacks in the first half. That first sack was on Fields. That was a throw that Mooney was open. He needed to drill that football there. I'm not sure. This is another thing that I've caught on tape with him, is that he just sees it, he looks at it, he just doesn't let it go. And then that was an NFL standards. That's a wide open Mooney, because he had no one in the middle of the field, no safety. The safety was retreating. If he leads them a little bit, that's probably a first down there. So that's one. That first one is on Fields in terms of that sack. So offensive line, I think all in all is holding up very well, respectably, versus this Washington front. But again, you got to get points on the board, and it's ugly, but it's two bad football teams going at it. And my concern is I just want to see this offense kind of take more. Kind of build off of last week, right? That's what we're hoping for. Just build it off of last week and just continue to to get be productive. And so far they've been moving the football. I just haven't put points on the board.
Yeah, if they played on a 90-yard field, things would be great. But unfortunately, it's 100 yards. And so is it just a case of missing the receiver when he misses Griffin in the end zone because he was wide open? Is it just getting over anxious and just putting too much on it, or a release point issue, or what happens in that situation where you just miss the guy long?
Well, he sold the play action pretty well. It was a nice play design, and then Griffin was he was like maybe a step or two ahead of the linebacker, and he just kind of wanted to lead him a little bit further away from him, threw it to a spot in the end zone, and just let Griffin a little bit way too far for an incompletion. But yeah, if he throws a little bit more touch on that, a little less less force, a little bit more air underneath it, that's probably an easy touchdown. But yeah, I mean, there's some throws that you know, he's made some nice throws, right? You know, there that one sideline throw to Mooney was a nice throw. I talked about the Pettis one. You know, he's making some plays out there, obviously moving around in the pocket, but it's just, you know, getting in that when you're a Bears team that struggles offensively, when you get into the, you know, red zone, you know, 20 and closer, you know, 20-yard lines and closer, you got to put points on the board, and you preferably touchdowns, right? And I think there are two opportunities there where they had touchdowns or possible touchdowns, and I think they just obviously missed opportunity though. So, but defensively, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
they've been pretty good on the versus the run. I do like the fact that they're, you know, we've been talking about last couple of weeks, John, you and I, that the Bears front four is not getting there, and this
Mhm.
defense is relying on the front four. I like the fact
Start
that Allen
blitzing.
Williams and Eberflus are bringing some blitzes here. They're not really fancy blitzes or anything like that, you know, crazy designs, but they're bringing, you know, we saw 2 sacks in the first half. Roquan got the first sack on our second sack on a blitz, and then Brisker got the first sack also on a blitz as well. So obviously Carson Wentz isn't the most mobile of quarterbacks, so I think if you get some pressure in his face, you have a chance to make some plays. So defensively, I think as long as they can hold off the run and continue to put pressure on Carson Wentz, whether it's by blitzing or just the front four. It'd be nice if just the front four could get there, but you know, we've seen this last 2 or 3 weeks, front four is not providing any pressure.
Yeah, and you hope you don't see a really nice defensive effort go to waste if the Bears lose a, you know, a 10-3 game or something of that nature. You don't want to see a big waste of a defensive effort where Jaquan Brisker looks good, even though Kyler Gordon got that bad defensive pass interference, which I still don't think was a penalty. He has flashed. Roquan Smith gets a sack,
Kindle
and
Vildor played again, a nice play again by
Kindle Vildor, yeah, also playing well, absolutely. And so you're hoping that you don't waste this defensive effort where and I mean, Bears fans are used to this, where the defense is kind of keeping you in the game, and you're hoping the offense can kind of keep pace. But do you think in the second half, and they're, you know, Bears have been making adjustments in the second half so far this year. They can't get really any push on the Washington interior on the defensive line. Do you
Right.
see them rushing to the edges a lot more on this now, because they were not getting any kind of penetration? And on Herbert's run, he was able to slice to the edge there. Do you anticipate seeing more of that?
Well, I mean, yeah, because I mean, those two guys, I tweeted before the game, and there's a Washington's advantage there is with Allen and Deron Payne there versus, you know, Mustafa and Lucas Patrick and on the inside. So yeah, I mean, and you know, up the middle is not going to be an area where I see the Bears succeeding. It's those, you know, stretch plays where you kind of stretch, you know, have the defense flowing one way, and then hopefully Herbert or Montgomery sees a cutback lane and just cuts back against the grain and picks up the yards. And then that Herbert run, that was a run that was going outside. There was a lot of missed tackles by Washington as well, and Herbert, you know, was able to break that long run for 62 yards. So that was a nice play off. Just, you know, maintain, you know, even if you're running up in the middle and you're getting 1 or 2 yards, you got to keep running the football, and then hopefully, like I keep saying, is build your passing game around play action. And once they start seeing that the fact that you're gonna, you know, play action and throw the ball down the field, then it opens things up, you know, for them offensively as well. So let's not give up on the running the football. Luke gets you. That's the one thing I hope they do not do.
Now, one thing I at least it seemed that way, is that they were running a little more play action on first down in this game than they normally do. Maybe
Right.
on first down, which seemed to be, you know, bucking trends and maybe trying to, you know, throw the defense off. Do you think they go back to that conventional run the ball in the second half, but to their credit, they were moving the ball. It's
Yes,
just a series
exactly.
of bad things that are happening in
Yep.
the red zone, or
That's the
more
problem. Yeah.
specifically inside the 10-yard line, that they can't seem to get the ball in the end zone or even set themselves up for a field goal. So I like that they went for it on fourth down. To your point, don't love the single back. At least they weren't in shotgun this time.
Right.
But
True.
I mean,
Baby
baby
step.
steps, baby
Baby step.
steps. But so we'll see. I don't love attacking the interior of that Washington line. They've been eating up the Bears inside so far. What have you thought of the offensive line? I mean, we saw, you know, they did get a push on that fourth down where I believe Lucas Patrick was basically trying to pick up Justin Fields and run him into the end zone
Right.
himself. But as far as the you know, the pass protection has been the biggest issue so far this year. Have they held up? Because like you said, one of those sacks were basically, that was on Justin Fields. He
Right.
missed the receiver and just held onto the ball too long. Has it been sufficient protection so far?
Yeah, for the most part, you know, like I said, that first sack, I saw it on Fields for me. I know we saw the replay. That was Mooney was open. That ball should have been out. And then, but up until this last drive, though, now we started seeing them penetrate, get in there, and then lay some hits on Justin Fields. It's a couple of times it looked like he was going to maybe come out of the game, but that's where my concern is like, so far they've been holding up their end of the bargain in terms of pass protection, but for me, Braxton Jones has solidified left tackle, at least for me. It's that interior, like we touched on with Mustipher and Lucas Patrick, and Tevin Jenkins has been solid in terms of his ability to get some push up front in terms of run blocking, but really pass blocking, he still struggles here and there. So yeah, that interior of offensive line is really gonna get me worried in terms of protecting Justin Fields and making sure nothing comes up in his face.
Yeah, and another thing, not just you'd like to see him make quicker decisions just because of you see separation and you let it rip, but he's getting banged up. Towards the end of the half, he looked like he was hurting. You keep holding onto that ball and scrambling around and taking those hits. We're not going to see the progression of Justin Fields because he's going to get out of the game eventually. He's getting hurt. And do you think that they maybe develop some maybe quick bubble screens, tunnel screens, anything to get? Do you think that you see more of the ball come out of his hands quicker?
Yeah, I would like that, because I mean, a couple of times they did get the ball out to slip screens to Mooney. It was successful. I like the jet sweep handoff to Velus Jones, get the ball in his hands in the open field. Let's see what he could do. I like the crossers, the quick hitting crossers, as long as Fields can find a throwing lane and get the football out there. And then that one throw, I know we mentioned earlier, but to the deep throw to Mooney, where I think it was 3rd and 3, where he had Pettis coming across the middle. He had Mooney one-on-one on the outside, and Mooney beat his guy. So just a better, a more accurate throw, and that's a huge completion. So I'm not gonna knock him for that, because I've always said, if you got Mooney one-on-one, that's your guy. And we saw Mooney had little over the top leverage there. Just a better throw there would have been a nice long completion there too.
All right, second half just kicked off. We will be back as soon as the clock hits 000. Let's hope the Bears put up some points. We're talking about a victory on this late Thursday night. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you after the game.